Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, July 28th. It is 6 p.m. Dina, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, would Ted Kitchens come forward? Ted, we're going to have you come say the prayer.
Well, Madam Mayor and council members, men and women, the community thanks you for your service. The spiritual community prays for you, and we don't overlook the fact that you invest a lot of time trying to make our lives more prosperous and peaceful. So it's my great joy to pray for you. Father, we approach your sovereign throne this evening, asking you for good favor for this meeting, thanking you for each of these councilmen and women and the mayor who do sacrifice a great deal of time, who give of themselves so that our lives can be more comfortable. We can be resting in peace, raising our children and grandchildren in a community that we're proud to be a part of. So thank you for their service. Lord, I know there's a lot of decisions need to be made tonight that individuals in the room are all being a part of. I ask you that you give the council insight and wisdom as it relates to the needs that are being presented, and everyone would be in love with each other from a Christian perspective, even if there's times of disagreement, and that at the end of the evening, the things that need to be accomplished for the sake of the Willow Park community will be accomplished. And this is our prayer to you, Lord God, in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor Ted Kitchens. We appreciate you. Okay, tonight I'm sharing the Bible verse, James 1:19. This you know, my beloved brethren, but everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Okay, Joyce, would you like to come forward? Okay, the business I'd like to highlight tonight is Clean Eats Cafe, located at 337 Shops Boulevard. The owner is Joyce Bone. I had lunch there Thursday with some friends, and I had the bison burger, which was great. So, Joyce, do you want to step to the podium and just say a quick word about your business?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Joyce, and I picked Willow Park to retire and chop broccoli for the rest of my life. We are a cafe that also does grab-and-go meals. We focus on healthy, wholesome food. We also do a weekly meal prep where you can do special orders. We do special diets. Anything that you need to have done, we do. We can do school lunches, school meals, daycares, anything to that effect. And we also do a lot of catering. Love Willow Park. Love the people, which makes this place absolutely great. And love the community, and hopefully it will go, forward under Mayor Palmer in the right direction. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please come see us.
Welcome to town. Okay, so next we have a proclamation to recognize the Aledo High School baseball team.
They were in eating today, by the way.
How impressive are those? Okay, I'm going to read your proclamation. Okay. So, whereas the Aledo High School Bearcat baseball team brought home a Class 5A state championship in 2026, capping off back-to-back titles. Wow, right? Whereas head coach Chad Berry, that's him, yeah, and his program have now won 3 state titles in the last 12 years and was named the Texas High School Coaches Association 5A Region 3 Coach of the Year. And whereas the Bearcats show strength and hard work on and off the field, with 5 players named to the All-State Tournament team, 1 player on the Texas High School Baseball Coaches Association All-Star Game, and THSBCA Class 5A Elite Team, and 2 All-State First Team selections. And whereas the city of Willow Park is honored to be the largest city in Aledo Independent School District and the home of many of the exceptional young players. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Teresa Palmer, ask you to join me in recognizing the hard work of these players, the coaching staff, and the assorted trainers, families, and fans who made us proud to be part of such an exciting time. I urge all citizens to extend their congratulations to the baseball team and the Aledo Independent School District as a whole, and witness whereof I have set my hand and caused the seal of Willow Park, Texas to be affixed this 28th day of July 2026. That was very nice. Thank you. Okay, item 2 is a consent agenda to approve the regular council meetings from July 14th. We have some changes that need to be worked on. Dina, where are we on those? Are we waiting? What are we doing?
The mayor sent me a message that said that she would like added or changed in the minutes to say that Mayor Palmer stated she had asked for this item to be put on the agenda because she received a phone call and an email from council person in another city. WHP overheard the city manager and city planner of Willow Park speaking to other public officials as TML meeting, and they were saying false, vicious, and malicious things about the mayor.
Yep.
She asked the council to consider adopting an ordinance for a new code of conduct. The city manager acknowledged her behavior at the TML meeting. So I told her that because this is a correction totally different from what's in the minutes, that it needed to be addressed at the table, and that the council would be the ones to make the decision what goes in the minutes, if it needs to be corrected or not. And you can either vote on it as, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can vote on it that you can say, yes, we want that added, and I can correct them. They can be approved tonight with the correction, or it can be tabled until the next meeting.
Okay, so I literally said that, so I want what I said, not what was rephrased in the minutes.
We don't do minutes verbatim.
Right,
It's
but
not
this is very critical, I think, what I said.
You know, what was
The
the last?
Bible verse, hold your thought, the Bible verse was 21:21. That was the only thing that I
Yeah,
saw on there.
I'll check that.
Right.
I'll change that.
Okay, perfect. So I want what I said in the minutes, not what was rewritten. So I'm asking for a motion to approve fixing the minutes. Do we have a motion to do that?
Tony has a question. The last sentence was the city manager acknowledged her behavior at the TML meeting.
That is incorrect.
Okay, so my memory of the discussion, and we do have it on video, is one comment you made is your comments that y'all made were after the meeting. That's what you said at the meeting, And this complaint was 15 minutes into the meeting. So that is a correction that the person who wrote the letter of complaint, it was 15 minutes into the meeting. So maybe you did it
incorrect.
15 minutes into the meeting and then after the meeting, probably several times, I'm guessing.
So this was for item number 7 on the July 14th meetings that are before you for approval. So it's item number 7 that we're talking about.
Well, can I suggest that if you do have a video, that you make sure city council has the opportunity to view the video before they make a decision?
Okay, so we want to table this and work on them, and that way everybody can go back and listen to the video, listen what
Well,
was said.
I didn't
right?
say that. That's up to city council. What I said was, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that that was available.
Correct.
Okay, so do y'all want, if you're not going to make a motion, do y'all want to table it? Make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes dated July 14, 2026 as presented.
Okay, do we have a second to
I
do
have
the wrong way?
a statement on, I want, if the mayor is asking for specific verbiage that she specifically said and would like that added, I have no issue there. It will become at anything else that was opinion at that point, and that's where, like, if you want to take the verbatim what you said and have that added as a script, I have no issue there, but I believe Ms. Fisher has said that she didn't admit to that, so there won't be any opinions added that I would go back and redo. Anything that you said is obviously part of it, and the summarization is the process by which we do this.
I don't know what you just said.
So you're asking me to, if the council so desires, to add the item that the mayor talked about verbatim as a part of what's already there, or change what's there?
I would say make it an addition, looking at what's there. There's nothing that, you can just add it.
It
if
was
you
just a summary.
Correct.
I mean, that's how I do the
That's-
minutes. I
the
do a
summary
summary
is-
of what's the discussion, so.
The summary is fine, in my opinion, if the mayor feels that her specific statements need to be added. I
Okay,
have no
then
issue with
we need a
that.
second on the motion, or
Okay.
the motion will die.
Okay, do we have a
will-
second for Nathan?
No, I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, so do we have a second for Nathan?
Let me make the motion first officially,
Go
so we
ahead.
can.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to update the city council meeting minutes from the 14th to reflect the mayor's verbatim statements that she would like added.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Point of order, Mayor. Did you skip public comments?
No, we're going there. Sorry. That's where we're at. Sorry. Next are public comments. Kenna Hannah?
Mayor Teresa Palmer, council members, and other city administrators and citizens, for your information, character assassination is a deliberate, malicious, and sustained effort to damage and reputation and credibility or character of an individual. It often relies on spreading rumors, manipulating facts, and using unfair criticism to destroy how the public or peers perceive the target person. Key components: intentional misinformation, to use half-truths, exaggerated claims, or outright lies to paint someone in a negative light. Reputation damage. The primary goal is to make people stop trusting, liking, or respecting the target person. Format. It happens through smear campaigns, gossip, media attacks, or orchestrated public criticism. Why is it used? People or groups often resort to this tactic when they cannot compete fairly or lack logical arguments. By attacking someone's morals or integrity rather than their actual work, the attacker tries to disqualify them from a debate, election, or a social circle. A city council in Texas does not have the right to strip a mayor of their constitutional freedom of speech. An elected mayor retains their First Amendment rights to express opinions, even when those views are controversial or critical at the national level. In Texas, neither a city council nor a city manager has a legal authority to unilaterally strip an elected mayor of their official duties or remove from their office at state level. City council. The council cannot fire, suspend, or strip an elected mayor of their core legislative or presiding duties under Texas law or elected officials' tenure is protected by the city level. City manager or city manager administrative employee hired by council that oversee day-to-day staff operations have zero authority over elected officials. An ordinance of the city of Willow Park, Texas, amending the city of Willow Park Code of Ordinances, the portion that says Chapter 1, providing the mayor and the city administrator to have control of the city control agenda, duly passed, approved at City Council November 17, 2025. Let us sincerely try to respect the voters and those who have been elected by the voters in the city of Willow Park, Texas, of this United States of America. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kenneth. Okay, next we have Tara Stark.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Tara Stark, and I live at 2004 Ranch House Road. I want to speak tonight about something bigger than one development, any one property, or any one decision that comes before the council. I want to talk about legacy. What standard will you set for the legacy you want to leave the city of Willow Park? Because the decisions made in this room don't end when a meeting adjourns. They become part of the community. They shape what we see when we drive down our roads, the quality of life within our neighborhoods, and the character of the city we call home. And those decisions don't affect only you and me. They affect our children, our children's children, and generations we will never meet. The truth is, one day all of us will be gone, but the land will still be here. And what will Willow Park look like 20, 50, and even 100 years from now will be influenced by the standards we choose to uphold today. Growth is inevitable. Change is inevitable. And 100 years from now, another generation may look at what we built and decide to bulldoze it all and start all over. But until then, we are the stewards of this place. We have been entrusted with a community worth protecting and an opportunity to shape what it becomes. So as future decisions come before you, I hope the question isn't simply what can we approve? I hope the question is what should we approve? What fits the character of Willow Park? What protects the quality of life of the people who already call it home? What will we be proud to drive past 20 years from now and say we got that right? There will always be pressure to grow. There will always be financial consideration. There will always be someone asking for an exception, asking for a variance or a different standard. But standards matter because once we lower them, what that will allow will become the expectation of tomorrow. Each one of you have been given the responsibility and an opportunity to help shape the future of Willow Park. My hope is that when you make those decisions, you don't consider the next project or the next few years. Consider the legacy. Because long after all of us are gone, the land will remain. And what we leave behind will tell future generations what we valued while it was ours to protect. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. And next we have Marcy Galley.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Marcy Galley. I live at 500 Squaw Creek Road. Let's see, we only have 3 minutes. So the first thing I'd like to ask very quickly is I noticed that there was a speaker signing up to give comments, and he was turned away because he didn't submit within 5 minutes before the meeting started. Can we please amend that to just, if somebody gets in public comments, a request to give public comments before the meeting starts at 6, can we just allow them to speak? I don't know where that stipulation comes from. Okay, so my first issue is I wanted to ask when the certificate of convenience and necessity amendments when was that effort approved? I know that Jacob and Martin put in the application at the beginning of February. Can someone answer when that was approved?
No, not during public comment.
If you have an answer, you should answer.
But not during public comment. We can't bend the rules for one person.
You
We have
can
rules.
do it under TOMA in public comment. We always have. So, and we're back to, people running the meeting that aren't supposed to be running the meeting. So anyway, okay, how much was the effort, right? How much are we paying Jacob and Martin to amend our CCNs for water and sewer? And I'd like to know when every public official of Willow Park was aware that we were putting in those amendments to the PUC. And why is Gretchen Vasquez not the one overseeing that effort? She's our in-house engineer. Number 2, I wanted to know the Banditas Willow Park, on item 12, we're doing economic development negotiations with Banditas Willow Park. So is there an application online for economic development requests for all businesses that come to the city? Or do we pick winners and losers? Because that's kind of the way it feels to me. I know personally that some businesses have been required to retrofit as they move here from other cities. And do we require that for all businesses? I mean, who do we give those incentives to? And I would like to just say, Bankhead Highway should never be completely closed to through traffic. I would like to see one lane open. I don't know why we're doing it that way, because I don't believe it was bid that way. And if it was bid that way, that was an error. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Chris Wood wants to speak.
I'm Chris Wood. I live at 184 Crown Point Boulevard. Please evaluate employee compensation based on the actual duties that each position performs. Consider also a regular cost of living adjustment so city pay keeps pace with inflation. I support adequate pay for Willow Park city employees. Willow Park employee pay may generally appear average, but that average does not tell the whole story. Pay varies by role, and the police department has recently faced retention challenges. Comparing Willow Park city employee compensation is difficult because the city operates with a lean staff. Many employees wear multiple hats to keep services running. This makes standard role-for-role comparisons with other cities incomplete and somewhat misleading. Employees often juggle duties across departments. For example, public works staff may also handle code enforcement. Salary surveys rarely match these exact blended jobs, leaving no clear baseline for compensation. A base salary may look high or low until you factor in the weighted average of the various skill sets and market rates for all the individual functions the employee performs. I believe in safety first. Thank you for approving a 2.5% pay increase for police officers in May to improve staff retention. Retention is critical for police departments because it helps prevent burnout, preserves knowledge, and reduces costly overtime. Experienced officers can also mentor recruits, creating a safer and stable work environment. This benefits all of Willow Park. Adequate employee salaries helps a municipality attract and retain skilled professionals, maintain high-quality services, and reduce the financial burden of constant turnover. Competitive, fair pay also boosts morale and helps keep experienced employees serving the public instead of leaving for other opportunities. Please evaluate whether city employee pay aligns with actual workload by identifying the tasks each employee performs, compare these responsibilities with the relevant market rates, and adjust compensation where duties have grown beyond the job title. Please also consider implementing regular cost of living adjustments for city employees. I am on disability, and the yearly COLA gives me peace of mind because it protects my purchasing power and helps maintain my standard of living. City employees deserve similar protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Jean Martin.
Madam Mayor, other members of the Willow Park City Council, I'm Gene Martin. I continue to reside at 700 Kingsgate Road. Many meetings ago, the new solid waste contract was a hot topic due to the sudden 25% increase to residents. Statements were made that there would be discussions with the other 5 affected cities from that contract. There have been no updates since. However, after researching the expense other communities face, I'm not overly concerned about the current rate. We're actually getting a pretty good deal, I think. Waste Management changed their process, though. The historic single trash truck that used to go around, pick up the trash, it still runs around, picks up. Well, what it does is goes about 30, 35 miles an hour down the road, looking to see if anybody has left any like yard debris next to the 96-gallon containers. And then the other truck comes around, goes up one side of the street, dumps down the other side. So effectively, Waste Management has tripled the trash truck load on our feeder streets. We all remain curious on the intent of the twice repeated agenda item to impose subdivision regulations in our ETJ. It's an extremely complex subject. Local government code chapters 212 and 242 allow limited control over plats and infrastructure standards. There do not appear to be any provisions to mandate building codes or create zoning definitions. Steps to limit data center development seem to be universally agreeable to everyone not specifically wanting to own a data center. However, putting those buzzwords in an agenda item is counterproductive to establishing general standards that might achieve the desired result without being considered discriminatory. You can't just do something for data centers. Okay. Last month, discussion identified naming a park for previous Mayor Pro Tem Lee Young. As someone who solicited Lee to run for city council years before she did, I wholeheartedly support that. I'm going to have to shorten this. It's encouraging that the Parks Department semi-annual report indicates vegetation improvements at the Memorial Park. Question is there a water source for the vegetation there? I recall, and I think Leah Young told me this, that the water for that park was primarily from the aerobic system that used to service the previous city hall. Of course, that's not operating anymore. And by the way, on the last thing, the 2.5% raise for the police department is about $50,000 total, and the total raise for city service fees will be $720,000 per your budget.
Thank you. Bill Green.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. Bill Green, still like him living on his street, I'm still on Vista Drive. And we sure are getting a lot of rock trucks coming down there, but we'll talk about that sometime we can get together. But anyhow, I didn't have anything in particular I was going to say till I walked in here, but then I got to thinking about things. And we're going to call this past, present, future. The guys on this side of the room are the past. They grew up under a different group of people, a different way of thinking, a different way of doing business. A lot of times that business was never made to where the people that live here could tell what was going on. Okay, let's move along a little bit. The new guys over here, they're just now getting into this, and we don't want them to have the same way of thinking as these over here, and we've talked about that. Not that you guys are bad guys, I just think you make bad decisions. I think you make decisions that are not helpful to the citizens of Willow Park. Roads. You still haven't done anything on roads. The roads were part of the campaign for the guys over here. Nothing has happened. Squaw Creek, nothing has happened down there. That was part of what everybody set their votes for on it. A lot of people placed their faith in you guys whenever you got elected, hoping that it would wash over to you guys here. Okay, that's past, and that's a little bit of present. A little bit of present, we got things going with Beal excavation up there. Who's paying for it? Are any of our taxes going to that? Who's servicing the water that's going to come to it? Are any of our taxes doing that? Are we going to run out of water on that? What's going on? I mean, everything is hush, hush, hush. Now, to the future. We're not the only city that are having these problems. Just about every small city or medium city in the state of Texas is having issues with their city councils, with their mayors, with everybody else that's there to make their life better. And some of them have found a way out of it. Trinidad, Texas, San Angelo, Texas, Abilene, Texas, Houston, Texas, are all under investigation by the Texas Rangers because of the things that has come to their attention, that the government of Texas has put them in a position to go rectify it. They've arrested people. People have left town so they don't get arrested. There's more out there. I don't even know who all's out there. I just pick up on what I see and what I hear. What I don't want to see is the Lone Ranger come riding in here in High Silver and take you guys away. What I want to see is you guys getting back to taking care of the people that live here.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to item 3. We're going to talk about the wildlife. And Jean, do you want to talk about that before we get our presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Gene Martin. I'm still at 700 Kingsgate. And I talked to a couple people that are here because they want to find out what's going on about deer. Okay. Sunday morning, I went out just in Willowwood, up Kingsgate, down Queensway, and up Knights Bridge, just those 3 little streets, about 100 acres. And I only counted 27 adult deer, 20 does, 7 bucks. And the bucks, boy, they're getting nice finery. Still a little fuzzy, but they're growing stuff. They're getting fed well. Okay. They were accompanied by 14 fawns. Okay. So just in my neighborhood, we're looking at about a 50% increase in the size of the herd. Everyone I know cannot help but smile at the playful antics if you see 3 or 4 fawns jumping around in the yard. They're just beautiful. They're fun. But those smiles turn to grimaces if anyone darts across the road in front of a vehicle, which they do. It's probably about the only way we have attrition in that herd. So most everyone tolerates the herd of living lawn ornaments that we have. Make no mistake, this herd is not wildlife. We're here to talk about game and wildlife, but they're domesticated. They're domesticated by people feeding them and everyone else accepting their presence. When I walk out of my house, often there'll be a doe. Does the doe run away? No, the doe take a couple steps for me to see if I have anything to eat. My neighbor stopped feeding them after she found that they ate all her flowers and shrubs in addition to the food. These lawn ornaments are destructive. They are not malicious or dangerous, but they are a problem. Looks like I said the Willowwood local herd will increase by about 50%. There's no natural predators in Wildwood, at least not yet. In fact, that's a question I'm going to have, I hope our representative answers. What's the likelihood of a herd this size attracting predators into our neighborhood? Does anyone remember the sounder of wild hogs that decided to make Squaw Creek and the Clear Fork run their home base? This is like 2014, 2010. That was before Meadow Place developed, before Wilkes. We found a trapper to gather them and relocate them, and he did it for free. Actually, he relocated them to a hunting preserve that paid him to bring them. Please consider if there's an available option to relocate many, if not all, of our non-wild.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, now we're going to have the Parks and Wildlife representative to discuss deer issues. Kaylee is going to come and do our presentation for us. Hi, Kaylee. Good.
Okay, so my name is Kaylee Baduna Ott. I'm a wildlife biologist for Texas Parks and Wildlife. I cover Tarrant, Parker, Hood, Johnson, and Somerville counties. My primary responsibility is working with private landowners on game species, but we do a little bit of everything wherever we're needed. I'm here today because I received a call about concern for urban deer. And luckily, this is something that we see quite a bit. So there's some few publications that came out, and I provided those. I'll talk a little bit about them today, but it's a problem that can be solved if you're willing to take the steps to do so. So the first thing when talking to urban municipalities, HOAs, private landowners, anyone that thinks they have a deer problem, the number one step is to determine where we are. What do you decide the problem is, and is it actually a problem? So the number one thing you can do that is a deer survey, figure out what your population is within the cities. Another thing that you can keep track of is the number of deer vehicle collisions. I know the 3 different fawns have been hit on the same access road of 20 this week. The amount of property damage that comes from it, and then doing neighborhood surveys with the people to figure out their tolerance toward deer, which we heard a little bit of. The next step is to identify where we want to be. So just defining what success looks like, whether that is maintaining the herd you have, if your population you feel like it's a good number, or if that's kind of thinning it out, maintaining and getting it to a point where you can maintain. And then the third thing is kind of bridging the gap. So where you are and where you want to be, and kind of the strategy to do that. And that's kind of where I come in. We provide technical guidance. I'm giving you my professional opinion on it. It's all based on science, based on research that's been done across the state. For urban approaches specifically, there are kind of 3 approaches. We're kind of past the first one, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So there's planning for wildlife. That's in developmental stages of cities and maintaining green spaces, stuff like that, to kind of promote wildlife to stay in their wild areas rather than encroaching in those urban areas. So it's just suitable use of natural resources and kind of reconnecting your society with the natural world. Again, that's more in the planning phase. We might be a little past that. Number 2 is getting to the root cause. That's probably where we are right now. So it's an environment that does not encourage overabundant deer. That's the goal. You want to have a healthy population that's maintainable. We call it carrying capacity. So whatever the land can provide for, that's the numbers you want. Ideal habitat in the cross timbers and prairies ecoregion, which is where we're situated, is a deer per 25 acres. And that is completely ideal conditions. I mean, like pristine prairie, rangeland, all the jazz. We aren't really that. So that would be nice. It's just not possible. But another thing that we talk about when it comes to overabundance is preventing feeding altogether, both intentionally and unintentionally. We don't really want to feed any wildlife, and I can go into that a little more if you would like. And it's important to allow your predators, your natural predators, your coyotes and bobcats, to not be habituated to people. And that kind of goes back to the unintentional feeding. If people feed feral cats, raccoons, stuff like that, you're attracting coyotes. They get kind of used to people. They start showing up in parks. We don't want that. We want them to act the way that they're supposed to. Same thing with the deer. The third approach is the do nothing approach. So this, you need to prepare for increased loss of vegetation and money that goes into landscaping. You're going to have increased deer vehicle accidents. You have potential for your deer to actually starve out or be congregated enough that diseases and parasites start to pass around, and then you're going to have a decline of habitat for your other wildlife species like your small mammals, your songbirds, stuff like that. And I have other things that I hope are going to be asked questions, but I have a little bit more to talk about feeding if you would like.
So I have a question. Do y'all have, are y'all doing any trapping and relocating?
So before I started as a biologist, we had a program. It was called Trap, Transport, and Translocate. It was then seized due to CWD being detected in the state of Texas. So we no longer allowed transport of living deer at all across the whole state of Texas.
What did you say? Explain that.
Chronic wasting disease. I do have that to
Thank
talk
you.
about. Sorry.
I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. Okay.
Chronic wasting disease. It was introduced in Texas, and we don't want it to go into our native herd, so it kind of cut down on movement of wild deer altogether. There is a program that is TTP, which is Trap, Translocate, and Process. I have a couple of cities that do partake in this. Pretty much it's you pick a location that you're going to trap at, You can set a drop net, trap deer. Those get transported to a processing facility. They are processed, and then the meat is donated. So that is a program that we offer.
Okay. Wow, and that's your only choice? You don't relocate them somewhere else and let them run around?
No, ma'am, not anymore
Oh,
due to
okay.
diseases, especially urban deer. So I have a couple diseases that I've actually dealt with in these counties, if you don't mind me talking about them really quick. One of the number one things that I see in deer that are fed by people is laminitis, also called floundering. It happens in sheep, goats, anything with hooves. So pretty much what it is it's caused by an imbalance of a high carbohydrate diet. If you don't know what deer eat, they eat mostly forbs and browse. They don't eat grass. And so whenever you feed them a whole bunch of corn and it's just carbs, they kind of lack that fiber, which then causes a drop in pH in their digestive tract, which is called acidosis. And then this causes reduced blood flow to all your extremities, and they get these really, really long hooves. So it makes them painful for them to walk. They'll stop eating. You can hear them clicky-clacking around on the road, and it usually just causes a decline of health. So I have seen that, and then in the springtime, I've dealt with a couple deer that die from pneumonia. It's a bacterial disease. It's not susceptible to people or anything like that, but deer pass it around really quickly in urban areas because they're so close together, and usually they're congregating at something that can pass it along. So a bucket of corn, a bird feeder, stuff like that. So it's on a surface, and then they're just pretty much passing it deer to deer, and then they will die from that. And then I can talk about chronic wasting disease if you would like, but we don't have it in our counties.
So do y'all drive around like Willow Park? Would you drive around and see how many there are, or what's your process, right?
So for deer surveys, we can provide guidance on how for you guys would be easiest for you to do it. We have a couple cities that run their own kind of like a spotlight route, but it's a little bit of modified because they do it during the day. So they start at a central location and they have people go out and do a minimum count of deer. So it kind of gives you your minimum population. It's not, you'll have to add in a couple numbers to adjust for your fawn crop and stuff like that. But that would give you a baseline of the minimum number of deer you're seeing. That's under the assumption that where everyone's walking, you're not double counting deer, right? If you have people over here and over here, this deer's not running and they're counting it twice. There's a new thing that's coming about with drone surveys. They're kind of new on the private side, but I haven't seen any cities do it yet, but it might be a good option. You do a drone survey and it runs certain lines pretty much throughout the city, and it's covering the whole thing, and it's counting deer as it's going. So then you're getting an actual population estimate. We have people that do that, and then you can provide me numbers, and I can provide you with recommendations on, hey, your herd's too high, your herd's, you have too many bucks, too many does, stuff like that.
So we get like volunteers with the city who are going to check the herds.
Yes, ma'am. We, the one that I work with most closely, they have a group, I think it's a little smaller than Willow Park, but they have a group of about 20 people, and they pick a main road, which probably for here is Ranch House. So they pick a main road, and then everyone has a sector. And so they go out at the same time. They either do it pretty close to sunrise or 30 minutes after sunset. That's when deer are most active. And they go out and they count, and they pretty much get a minimum count of the population.
Okay, Scott, you had something to add? Will you come to the podium?
Can I ask, am I allowed to do that for real person? No,
Well-
I'm asking for real. Can I come to the podium?
Oh, I can answer. It's up to you. I don't know what you guys allow.
Yeah, I think you can come up to the podium, and if you have a question, I'm sure she can help answer that for us.
I'm a little bit of game in this, because when I walked out to come to this meeting, I had like a dozen deer sleeping in my front yard. They sleep there every night. I live near the spillway. There's collateral to this, and while I think this is a thing that could be looked at, I think that the issue of coyotes is about tenfold more important, because there's not 10 coyotes here, there's about 50. And I hear them kill deer every single night in the spillway. So if you remove the deer, you're gonna have coyotes killing your cats, your dogs, and they walk through my neighbor's backyard during the day. Coyotes are nocturnal. So I watched them walk down Squaw Creek at high noon. They're unaffected by this. So before you start taking their food source away, you better address the coyote, because one of my friends owns 1,000-something acres north of here, and he pays them to call them, and he kills numerous coyotes every year. And I asked him if he's made a difference. He goes, no. He can't keep his cattle there. He has to keep them in Gordon. They've killed every calf he's dropped in the last 7 years. So this is all great, but before you do this, I called and said, can we call them if they're on our property? I have a kid with special needs. She now understands the difference between coyotes and dogs, but when we moved here, we didn't. That was going to be a problem with the coyote.
Okay.
So I just need you guys to understand, there's not 10 coyotes here. There's probably 30 or 40 living in that spillway.
Okay,
So
thank you,
there's
Scott.
balance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to touch on that? I think-
Yeah, how do
So,
we deal with that?
It's
Yeah.
kind of, I'm going to touch on it with deer first because it kind of correlates the same way. So the reason that urban deer don't move when they're being fed is because they don't have to. It's like a kid with a candy store. If they have unlimited access to candy corn, they never once are going to touch their broccoli, if that makes sense. So you're giving them a food source without them having to move to look for it like they normally do. Coyotes are the same way. So you have a large deer population, and therefore you have a large coyote population. If you can thin your deer, if you make your deer disperse, the coyotes should follow. That's not saying they will, but they should. And again, I kind of touched on it a little bit. They get indirectly fed a lot in city situations when people are feeding raccoons or feral cats or stuff like that. They tend to also utilize the same food sources.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for her?
Yeah, real quick, you had a statement about unintentionally feeding, and do we just not go with lovely plants in our front yard for this time period? Or what are some recommendations you could have for keeping that unintentional feeding down as well, please?
So when we talk about unintentional feeding, it's usually like someone that puts out a 3 pounds of cat food for the 87 feral cats they like to feed in their front yard. That's more what we refer to in terms of an unintentional feeding. You're trying to feed other things. When it comes to ornamental plants, there's a lot of publications out there for Texas specifically about like deer-resistant plants. If your deer are desperate enough, they're going to eat those plants because they already know that you landscape. They're going to eat those because it's easy picking. Same way, they have a food source. They're not going to move for it. Why not? We can provide you those. Again, it's hard when you already have the problem to then landscape with deer-resistant plants because they're probably going to eat them. But unintentional feeding is more like feral cats, raccoons, leaving out pounds and pounds of corn, just trying to have unnatural attractants pretty much.
So I was told that Hudson Oaks has had an ordinance for years managing their deer population. So that might be something we need to think about.
I haven't worked with Hudson Oaks yet. I took over this position about 1.5 years ago. Since then, I've been to 6 city council meetings and 4 HOA meetings. We pretty much go and we talk and we provide the knowledge that we have from ones that we've worked with in the past. We've had 2 that were really successful, that they implemented a feeding ban, they enforced it. They did do TTP and it helped them quite a bit, but it worked for their circumstances. And they've had good success. There's not without caveats. Everything kind of has that. When you have, people that want to look at deer in their front yard, you're just going to have them a little less. They're not going to leave. You're probably never going to get rid of them, especially when we're still surrounded by enough connected habitat. But, it's just, you try your best. You try your best, and what works for one city hopefully can work for another, but there's really not one size fits all for this.
Okay, Kaylee, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
We live on Vista Drive, and any day we have 60 plus deer. And they're just right on the other side of my driveway. We've got a lot of open land out there. They sleep up there during the day, during the night. They roam all around through there. We've taken videos of them to show our friends.
I've laughed a lot about wondering what they are.
And some of them even try to come up and get in the garage. We have the garage door. Several of my friends at church want to lease my driveway to hunt them, but she won't let them. But how do we get that many of them to go? I mean, they are there. They're in our yard, and then there's another herd of about 25 right across the street. And there's probably a dozen or more ponds.
Can I talk facing this way, or do I need to talk facing? Does it matter?
Into the speaker, yeah.
Let me yell into this microphone really quick.
Right.
So I actually live in town, funny enough. I live here. I'm a resident of Willow Park. So the places that we've seen that implement a feeding ban, if they have let's just say, if they have 2 or 3 people that aren't willing to follow through with it, the problem will not solve itself. So we're kind of at the point where we're past, okay, it's a problem. There's enough here, you're having them in your yard. It takes time. It takes time. So if you stop feeding, there's also, you can haze them. Again, when you get to this point, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it'll not. You can blow an air horn in your front yard, they might scatter. They might have been here so long that they're just used to it and it won't bother them. So it's pretty much trying to find what works. We always usually start with a feeding ban. We suggest it. It's one of the easiest things that you can do because they're going to be hungry. They're going to be hungry, and I have the numbers. Deer eat about 2,000 pounds of food every year. We don't have that to support them. They're being supported by landscaping, by corn, stuff drawing them into the area. For them to get that, they're going to have to go. And again, it takes time. You might not see it for a couple years, but they will go.
Okay, thank you, Kaylee.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to go number 5. Hold on, sorry I jumped. Whoopsie. You want to go to 4 first? Let's do that. Okay, so the discussion on wastewater treatment. Chase, you're going to do that? All right.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I set a schedule in front of on y'all's desk yesterday. We are at about 94 to 95% completion. There's a few touch-up things on chemical feeders and things that are still being installed. The air diffusers and things have been installed, so we're basically at the point now that we have roughly about 2 months of testing. So it's start up, putting some treated water in there, testing blowers and testing mixers and certain things like that. And like I said, we're looking at roughly close to 2 months or a little bit shy of 2 months on basically starting up and testing all of the actual equipment, and then in conjunction with the SCADA system, manually running everything. So that's perfect. Fairly short and sweet.
So I got a call today. Can you see who that is and have them lower, please? Their voice? I'm sorry, it's distracting me. Who is that?
I believe a biologist.
Okay, she can dare outside would be really good. Okay, so I did get a call from Pastor Clark Bozier today from Willow Park Baptist. This is, I'm going to guess, his 3rd time he's called me on this issue. And he was talking about the wastewater that's on across the street, and that he said it smells, right? So he said it smells, and the city was supposed to move it June 2025, and so he needs that move so he can sell the property. So like I said, it's like the 3rd time he's called me on this. So he wanted me to bring it up because someone must have told him, or he saw it was on the agenda, and he asked me, are y'all talking about that? Yes, Chase is. Talk to us.
We are in the process of doing that. We have the engineering drawings for the decommission of the old plant, and we actually did have the bid opening today. So the engineer is still in review, vetting bid openings and checking all the numbers on the bids to make sure everything is good on that end, but we are in the process of moving forward with the decommission of the plant.
So maybe in another month or so, I can talk to him about that it's really going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, we had the bid opening. Once that gets vetted, it has to come to council to approve the bidder for the project itself, and then once that happens, we will have a far better timeline of where we're sitting.
And we've got to have the new plant up and running first before we get decommissioned.
Yes, there's going to be a cushion between startup of the new decommission of the old, but we are in the process of trying to line everything out to where it's day to day, not week to week, and waiting. So we're preparing for all avenues on that.
And startup with the new one is it 2 months out, or?
We're looking at, the startup is going to be starting up sometime next month, but there is a lot of troubleshooting and testing because this isn't just a manually ran plant like we're used to now. There's a lot of electrical components like SCADA, so it's going to be a lot of troubleshooting, making sure everything is properly functioning before we just abandon the old plant, and then we're, in an issue we can't get out of.
So how long does it take? Because you know that, I'm sure. How long does it take to take the old one down?
That I have not received the schedule for the decommission yet, and once we pick a contractor for that, then they'll be able to provide one for us. And the contract days will be set. I'm not aware of those yet.
So this might be on the schedule next month again, maybe?
Possibly.
Yeah, that was going to be my
I don't-
question. Do you think the bids will be available by the first meeting in August, or
I
30 days out?
Possibly, yes. I can't speak for our engineering firm, but they're usually pretty quick on the turnaround for that.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
And we're going to be looking to potentially move that equipment to our facility we have.
Yes.
That will be opening up since we have the
Yes, we will.
capacity there to.
Yeah, once
put it.
once the construction has gotten to a certain point with site work and things, it's going to clear space on the new location to store the old package plant, yes.
Okay, thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chase.
Okay, so number 5, I think we've seen him before. Gene, you wanted to talk on number 5?
I told you could pull this. I already made a comment about it, but I could repeat it if somebody didn't hear me the first time.
I think we've recorded it. We're good. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Okay, item 5, discussion and action, consider possible subdivision regulations in the ETJ of Willow Park as it relates to data centers. And I think Eric put this on, and Eric wanted to talk about this again?
Yeah, absolutely. Still working with our legal team to create something that we feel confident in to bring before council. These things take time. We're still working through it. So I'd like to table it to the next meeting. I think we should have it ready to go by then.
Okay, so you've been talking to attorneys about this issue. So you want to bring it back again? You're tabling it for now?
Yes, ma'am. Table it to the next meeting.
Okay, if we're going to table that, is there a motion to table the item? You want to make a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to table number 5 to the next meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? There you go. Okay. All right, and we have number 6, the Gene, you busy man.
I asked
You
this
back
one-
again?
I asked for this one to be removed. I got the information that I needed.
I don't want it removed. I have information
it's-
that's here.
My agenda item. I asked for it to be removed.
You ask who?
Our attorney and staff.
Okay.
They'll make the
I run the meeting, so I should know about that. Did I get an email and I missed it?
I don't know. I asked,
Okay.
So we need,
No, he doesn't care. Okay.
we need a motion to table it.
I'll make a motion to table agenda item number 6.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, I'll do it next time myself then. Thank you very much.
I did sign up to speak to an agenda item that was posted.
Okay. I'm running the meeting. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Gene Martin. I'm still at 700 Kingsgate Road. The employment agreement for the Willow Park City Manager contains a sentence that begins with, and I quote, "Employee shall serve as the chief administrative and executive officer of the city." Quote. In Local Government Code, Chapter 22, we find Section 22.042 entitled Powers and Duties of the Mayor. First sub-bullet, A, the mayor is the chief executive officer of the municipality. This employment agreement appears to be in direct conflict with state law. Actions by the city council throughout the past 14 months suggest that the designation in this employment agreement and the identical text in the prior employment agreement going back to at least 2022 confirm it is and has been the intent of the city council to run Willow Park as a city manager form of government. This form of government is defined and authorized by Texas Local Government Code Chapter 25. A possible issue arises by the manner in which the city council has implemented this policy. We find in Local Government Code Chapter 25, Section 25.021, adoption of city manager form of government, the municipality, by first holding an election on the question, may adopt the city manager form of government. this required election is actually no different from the requirement to have an election to adopt a home rule charter. Far from entertaining an election on the subject, our council adopted the policy by approving an employment contract. It's related to Ordinance 802 that was passed in 2019 that established governance policy. And on that note, that particular ordinance only took questions from citizens last year, 6 years to get published as part of the municipal code that the citizens knew about. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Okay, number 7 is to discuss action to address the mayor being abruptly removed from the agenda-setting process. I put this one on. So I request this item because as soon as Tony's contract was approved by the council, I stopped receiving the Teams meeting invitation to coordinate finalizing the agendas with staff. Treating me this way is insubordination, and it goes against my statutory authority. Under the Local Government Code, Chapter 22, I received a legal opinion related to Tony's contract and my involvement in the agenda-setting process. I requested to have the document posted online, and there are extra copies available to the citizens in attendance over the desk where agendas are located. I don't think I saw those. Did we do that, Dina? Okay, she did not do that. So the chief executive and recommending measures 22.042 as the chief executive officer, the mayor is tasked with actively ensuring laws are carried out and has the duty to recommend, that is the duty, to recommend to the governing body any measures or information related to improving the finances, health, security, and good government of the municipality. My input on city council meetings agendas is vital to ensure we just had a sample of this tonight, what happened. My input on the council meeting agendas is vital to ensure the items listed are done so in a way that informs, I want to inform the public, and making sure certain public documents are included in the packets is a responsibility I take seriously. It is my duty. Suggested motion is to amend the ordinance 92625 to remove the word from the words Section 1 that changed the City Code 1.03.035 addressing meetings and agenda. Do I have a motion to fix this issue from our city council?
Mayor, did you say your duty was to inform the public? I'm just asking a question.
Right.
Okay, so under section 22.042, power and duties of the mayor, C says the mayor shall give to the governing body, which is city council, any information and shall recommend to the governing body any measure that relates to improving finances, police, health, security, cleanliness, ornament, or good governance of the municipality. Are you keeping the city council informed?
I think that's what these meetings are about. Is there a specific subject that you have a problem that you want to talk about in front of citizens?
No, I'm asking you a question. Are you keeping the city council informed?
I do. I send emails and I ask Dina to forward them to you. And I've seen she has included me on the emails that are forwarded to you. So yes, that answer is yes, sir, I sure am.
So,
and I see those going to you, yes.
So when you're asking to get on this Teams meeting with our attorneys, are you forwarding that information on to the city council? Because I have yet to receive anything.
It doesn't come from me. It was coming from our attorneys, and we actually had meetings before this contract happened. We had meetings, and it was different attorneys. We have a lot of attorneys. We have like 6 of them we work with. That one of the attorneys would, in Ashland, mainly the assistant, would put it on the schedule and the calendar. And at that point in time, it did not come from me. I never did a Teams myself. I was sent on my calendar to do a Teams to discuss the agenda that's what was happening, and now I'm totally taken out of it, and items are moving back and forth, some things are being reworded, and I'm not being informed.
So one follow-up question to that is, who was in attendance in those meetings? Was it just you and legal counsel, or who else was on there?
No, legal counsel, Dina, and most of the time, Tony would be on there.
I
Yep.
used to be on that list as well. I have not received any Teams meetings in the past probably month and a half either. My understanding was that it was more of, like, you request your items, the people that request it, put it on there. There's really not a need, unless there is a legal issue as how something is worded, to have an hour-plus meeting each time an agenda is set. Like, I'm not there to, like, if you have an item, I'm not there to talk you in or out of it. It's your item and vice versa. And so the legal team's review, to my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but is just to make sure that anything we place on the agenda is legally done and there's not any potential violation there. It's not the source material is ours to decide. The legal team is just to decide if what we're going through is legal and worded correctly and all of that. So I haven't been on any Teams meetings as we used to be on those together, but at this point, it's been in the past month or
haven't
two
either.
that I don't think we've had any, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think it was very nice, it was very professional to have a meeting to discuss that with the secretary and
May I
from
say
me.
something to possibly clear some of this up? There was a discussion in executive session, but it was me that requested that back in February regarding my health. And this was discussed. Can I talk about that, or do I need to not?
Well, you don't have to talk about what happened in executive session, but you can talk about whatever the concern is that apparently is still
That
prevalent.
brought this to the change that we are at now.
That's fine.
Okay. If you all remember, the city council meeting on February 10th, I stepped out of the meeting and I ended up in the hospital with a potential heart attack. At that time, I was told lots of different things and some scary stuff that might have happened to me. So the very next meeting, I asked Tony to have an executive session with the city council to discuss the stress that was happening in this office regarding setting our agendas. It was going back and forth all the way up till 5 or 6 o'clock on the day that we were supposed to post the agenda. Particularly on July 3rd of last year, my husband was in the hospital potentially passing away on July 3rd, and I wanted to leave here at noon. That was the day that we were going to post the agenda. It was a holiday weekend, and I was informed, I started getting information from the mayor that, no, you can't do that, you need to send this to me, we've got to make these changes, and that lasted till 5:30 before I could leave this building to go be with my husband. So it was due to the stress, and during that discussion, we talked about the fees for the city attorneys, because there was discussion about how much money we were doing at that time. And it was decided, as we came out, that I think a comment was made by Mayor Pro Tem Crummell to possibly limit the items that we have on the agenda to help alleviate some of the stress. And it was even said by Mayor Palmer, well, maybe we need to pull back some of the stuff that we do with the attorneys. Because Ashlyn, the assistant, paralegal, she's awesome. She was actually typing up the agendas, and I made the comment, if she's doing it, then why do you need me? I have done this job for 43 years. So that is why things are the way they are now. We're not trying to disqualify the mayor or the mayor pro tem in the process. You're welcome to join us. You're welcome to call us and ask questions. Just don't belittle us and don't beat us up because we put something or change something you don't like.
I hope no one does that.
Well, you do, Mayor.
I think, Dina, I understand, and you explained your health issues, and I sympathize with that, and I know with your husband.
I didn't bring this up for sympathy.
No,
not
but
at
I
all.
want you to know that we do. Do you have a backup to do your agenda when you're gone? I thought
No, ma'am, I don't.
You don't have anybody?
No, ma'am, I do not.
I think the point, what Dina's trying to make is that we've set cutoffs to be able to get the agenda out as needed, and you still continually to send information days after the cutoff for our agenda items.
Or
I have
there's-
sat in those meetings as well, meeting with our attorneys, and it's literally us paying them to tell us what's on the agenda.
Right.
And I told Andy, that's ridiculous. We spend an hour on the phone for him to go, item number 1 is this, item number 2 is this, item number 3 is this. It takes an hour. He has an attorney, he'll have a secondary attorney, and he'll have Ashland.
Right.
That hour is costing us over $800 to have them on to tell us, but this is a meeting that you're requesting.
But it was
So you
happening
said-
3 times a week.
Okay,
Exactly
let's
right.
just address
So-
me one at a time.
Well, I am.
Okay,
So that's what
no,
I'm saying. So I've
hold on a
already told
minute.
Andy.
So,
that
Dina?
I'm still speaking.
A one at a time, go ahead.
So I told Andy that we do need to repeal that back a little bit because it's absolutely ridiculous that we have to meet with our legal team just to be told what's on the agenda. And I'm not going to sit in a meeting just to be told what's on the agenda by our attorneys when we have a secretary and we have our city manager here to go over those items.
Okay, I think if we review the bills, the agenda is very minimal compared to all the other $322,000.
Unnecessary.
Okay?
Yeah, they are.
Marcy, you had something?
I was going to say, I don't believe it's an issue of you being abruptly removed, as the thing says. I believe there was a process change, and like, if you're worried about a Teams meeting, I'm not on it either. That was
I'm not
something
either,
that we
yeah.
used to.
We're not either.
understand.
I
Don't
think
have a
we
Teams
should.
meeting.
I think we should reinstate that, to not have what we just had tonight, where I'm in the meeting, I'm running the meeting, and then, oh yeah, I took that off.
But that's
I
not,
should know that, Nathan. Do you not think that?
to me, that's something that happens later. The agenda setting process was completed. Post the agenda being set, something changed, something was provided that he needed.
Yes.
It made the item no longer relevant.
But
Those
then no.
changes will happen. Eric didn't have what he needed tonight. We tabled it.
Yeah.
And so that is the action that you take. It's not being removed. Did you know Eric was going to table his item?
No, I think the
Okay.
difference is that
He got,
Scott had already talked to everyone else and knew he was going to do it.
I
Why
got the
did
information
not?
that I need, and you didn't have that information.
I didn't have that information either. But when Scott said he had what he needed, then we were good. I'm not trying to, I want to just to discuss the abruptly removed. In my opinion, there was no such abrupt removal. We have had a process.
We
It
did.
changed.
We did.
It changed. You and I are no longer on these team calls. It is not just
true.
you being singled out. You
I'm
wanna-
not saying I am.
Well,
I
it
think
it doesn't
Marcia-
say the mayor and the
It says
mayor
mayor
pro
being
tem.
abruptly
And so I just think that it's a mischaracterization of what has happened here, and it makes it shines poorly on our city staff. It seems
does.
like we're cutting you out, and we're not. This is a process where, thank you.
Let me,
So-
Okay, hold on just a second. We need one at a time. Do you want to finish?
I would like to finish real quick.
Go ahead.
I would just say that we have names next to each one.
Not
And-
always, but yes.
For the most part, I'm looking at tonight's, and with the exclusion of the deer issue, everybody has something next to it.
Sponsor.
We don't change, we don't ask Eric to change Eric's, we don't ask Sean to change Sean's, you to change yours, nobody to change theirs. So,
Well, there have been, but go ahead.
well, if it is, then that's a legal question, then I'm counting on each member at this dais to have discussed it if they think there are any legalities. And that's fine, but we don't need to circle the troops and all go over this one by one to discuss an item. You can call the attorney yourself and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Is this worded correctly? Is this in violation of anything? Can we do this because of Texas Open Meeting Acts? It's not, we don't need the city manager, the city secretary, one of the city council members to jump on there with you to hear it if there's an issue. I mean, and like we talked about, you're the one that's going to disseminate the information to all of us if there is something based on the duties of the mayor, correct? So we're not asking for any of this. Nothing is abruptly changed. You've not been abruptly removed. There's an agenda setting process that we try to follow, and we're not, there's no point in, like Scott said, having the attorneys go over this one by one If you're comfortable, if you're the sponsoring member and you're comfortable with the wording, then it stands. You don't need to
It
have a meeting.
would. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Mine get changed, right? They do get changed.
Who changes them?
Well, if there's a legal review, I will change something if it violates
Well,
sure,
other
yeah, I would
law.
expect that.
And the mayor requested this item be changed to say abruptly removed. She took the language that I had on there and wanted it changed to what's on there tonight. And that's what we did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do think the amount of money we spend on the attorneys to do an agenda review, so everyone knows what's happening, is a good process. It was working very well. If Dina needs a backup, I think that's something where we need to talk to staff about getting backup. But I would like to continue the process so we know exactly what's happening. Marcy?
May I speak first, please?
Please. Please.
Okay, Tony would like to speak. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
So I want to clarify what the agenda process is, because maybe I'm missing something as far as what we're supposed to be doing. So every member of council and the mayor gets to put items, and staff get to put items on the agenda that are necessary for city business for the next meeting. I collect that
Correct.
information from staff and all of their items that need to go with it, as far as their brief, explaining as to what that item is, and all of their backup data that goes with that, all their supporting data that goes with that. That is collected and put on the agenda by me. That is staff going through me. I collect that, I put that on the agenda. Council can tell you, they can tell me of items they want on the agenda, as you also tell me or Dina as to items that you would want on the agenda. Those items typically do not have supporting information because you aren't required to have briefs on them to explain what that information is for the rest of council or for staff, which is fine. The point is, that is the process. So there is no, I like this, I don't like that. If they're ready to go before council, if the items from staff are ready to be presented to council for city business to move forward on an item, that item is put on the agenda. You forwarded to me a contact that had a problem with deer. We communicated with him. We communicated with the Texas Parks and Wildlife. That item got put on the agenda because we had a source that could speak about that issue. That is how that was done. The other items were put on. Let it be known, none of this is staff items. Not the last agenda, not this agenda. Nothing has been staff city business. That's been on the last two agendas. So if council or the mayor has issues to put items that you'd like discussed on the agenda, those items are put on there. Per your recommendation and request, we now have sponsors that are added on there as well. So as well as executive session, the same process, except the item, the people who are requesting it are not on there. The sponsors are not on there for confidentiality purposes of not being targeted. So unless I'm missing something, that is the agenda process. There is nothing that is, there's nothing drawn out, there's nothing magical, there's no secrets, there's nothing crazy going on.
I'm not saying that, Tony. I'm just trying to explain. We had, just a second, we had team meetings. That's what we did. And I got the agenda once y'all started putting it together, sent it to me. We had meetings. We had with the attorney. You were on the phone.
Yes.
Dina was on the phone. We were on the teams. And then if there were any changes, then I knew on the agenda what was happening before it got put out on a deadline. All of a sudden things were being put out, and I'm like, where did that come from? I didn't get to see that. I'm saying, the process we had was a very good process. I'm running the meeting. I would know what's going on. I don't think we should change the process we had that was working. I hear what you're saying. Yes, I asked for sponsors. I want to know who's on it. I would like to continue as we were with the agenda. So I am running the meeting. I know what's happening. That's the way it's supposed to work, not just all of a sudden, oh, it's too late. It just got posted. Teresa, I didn't send it to you.
So Mayor,
What
let
is
me
that?
clarify on Messer Fort end.
Right.
Back in February, we were told that we were no longer involved in the agenda process, and that we would get a draft of the agenda on Friday, and that would allow us to do a legal review once you meet your noon deadline. I believe it's on Tuesday. And that's what we were instructed to do by City Council pursuant to action that was taken in an open session.
That's correct.
So if you are saying that you don't like that action, then your request is not that there's been some abrupt change, but that you want City Council to reconsider. So
That is what I'm asking to reconsider. I mean, the abrupt seems to be a word that's a trigger word here. Take the word out, but I would like to request to go back to the process that we had that worked very well. Then I knew what was happening in a meeting instead of, oh, we have an attorney. It's fixing to be, we got to stop the meeting at 8 o'clock. We have an attorney in the back room that's going to be on the phone. Things like that.
Well,
I should know those things, Judy.
We're always going to change, I mean, based on people's availability, whether it be Texas Parks or your staff, we have the flexibility. The Open Meetings Act allows us to move things around.
Right, that would be good to know.
So
Right.
I'm sure that we can try and keep you more apprised.
That would be great.
But I do know that you are emailed, that you receive all of these emails, because I get them and you're on them. So I don't know. I'm not sure why there's a claim that.
Do you have a call, like, with the attorneys? Is there any, do you
Not
call?
anymore. No, that was taken off. So I did have calls, that Andy got too busy. And then Judy was going to be on some calls and all of a sudden, but she wasn't going to be at the meeting, so we had no cohesiveness.
Well, let me correct you there, because we have offered at least 3 different Mondays my availability for you to speak to me instead of Andy. and
That's true.
You haven't. So-
Right, because you weren't going to be at the meeting. Andy was going to be at the meeting.
But I don't, okay.
So that is my request. I'm just asking, Marcy, did you want to say something before we keep moving on?
I just simply wanted to ask, from what I've been listening to here, it seems like there was a Teams meeting, there was standard operating procedure. Are those happening still with only staff?
No.
No, and it wasn't standard operating procedure either. It was a request by the mayor to be told what the agenda item was.
We had a Teams meeting that the
But then
Ashland set up.
able to tell Andy Messer what to do? Just
So-
you?
No.
Because you commented earlier, I told Andy.
I made the
that it was
suggestion,
expensive.
I made the suggestion to Andy that these are unneeded because of the purpose is to go through agenda items to tell the mayor what the agenda item is. And we'd be on a call for an hour to explain to her what that agenda item.
Scott, you didn't have to be on any call. Nobody.
I absolutely did.
There were several
Nathan?
times where I couldn't make the meeting if I had a conflict with work, and I would ask another council member to step in
And that's
for
why I
me
was on those
as the
meetings.
council representative. And then Scott was
Right.
most usually readily
Exactly.
available. So that's why he would be in there. And I would agree. I feel it was pretty much just going line by line. Any legal issues here? Nope. Okay.
For
move
$700
on.
and $800 an hour, 2 or 3
Right, and
times
we
a
just
week.
do it.
Well, I think that's a
multiple times.
minimal amount. I'm sorry, people.
Parliamentary
I think it's
inquiry.
a minimal amount spent on agenda items that, these meetings are very important for us. They're important for all of us, and they're important to the citizens. I think keeping the organization and the group as a whole, and I am presenting it, I would very much like to be on a Teams back as a group like we did before, so I would know things are changing before they're final. That's
Parliamentary
what I'm
inquiry.
requesting. Eric, would you like to say something?
Yes, parliamentary inquiry. Who controls the power of the purse?
City Council.
Okay, and we voted on it. Thank you.
What was that?
You keep saying that we are over on our attorney's budgets. We cut some things out. So we're trying to control expenses, Mayor.
Well, I don't think the agenda was a small amount compared to everything else that y'all are spending. Eric?
We're talking about lawsuits, which will cost money.
Yes, we are.
But if you look at everything else besides that, we have to make tough decisions, or else then we start looking at where else are we going to be cutting? Are we going to raise taxes in the next budget cycle, which I don't want to do. I want to be below new revenue rate. That's always what I want to do, because I don't want anybody having to pay more taxes than they should.
That's a good key phrase to use. It is. Jeff, you want to say something?
During the time these meetings were held, was there ever anything found during that meeting that was worthwhile, that needed to be adjusted, needed to be corrected, needed to be reevaluated?
Yes. No. Yes, there was, and it was very, very good to have the meetings. And it was not a large amount compared to everything that we're spending. So my request was to amend the ordinance 92625 to remove the word or the words, section 1, that changed the code, addressing the meetings. So that's what I'm requesting, a motion. Is anybody going to make a motion as we sit here? Anyone going to make a motion?
Just to be clear, from the numbers I've looked at, it appears that all 5 council members combined attorney's fees, when you look at all the billing, is below just what you have as the mayor on the attorney's fees billing. So we're doing a good job, I think, at managing our expenses, but your expenses
Okay,
have blown
everybody,
out for
don't laugh at him, don't laugh at him. Okay. I was getting 1 hour a week. That's what I was getting, and then that got cut out. So I don't think you can say I was spending a lot of money. So we need to move on. We're going to spend all night on this subject. Apparently, y'all are not going to address the issue, correct the issue, and put the meetings back where they were. Y'all don't have an interest in that. I want everybody to understand the mayor does not have a vote. So, Jeff again, yes?
Just to reiterate, these meetings were useful because I feel that these are being unjustly painted as $800 for an attorney to read the agenda to you. But it sounds to me like it is more than just that come out of these meetings. You have actually found items that need discussed, that need addressed.
Yes.
I disagree.
That's true.
I disagree.
Name an item.
Oh my gosh, really, Eric?
No, I
Point
mean,
two,
you
three,
just said yes.
Oh,
so
no,
name an item.
Eric, stop. Don't be so silly. Let's be mature. Let's be professional.
So you'd rather spend $8,400 a month to be told what an agenda item is?
Like I said,
Scott,
disingenuous.
it is, you're being
It's the math.
very unprofessional. If you don't want to get it corrected and do it the way we did it before.
It wasn't wrong.
Let's move on and not just go back and forth. We're not going to crosstalk. We're not doing that anymore.
Well, we could have done this in a
No more, we're
conversation
doing that.
on the dais.
No more,
Anyway.
back and forth. Tony,
Could have been a
stop.
personnel matter on
No, ma'am.
executive
Stop,
session,
you have
too.
not been acknowledged. Hold on.
Excuse me?
One at a time.
Excuse
One at a time.
Stop.
Yeah, excuse you. Hold on.
So lacking a motion, I hear that there's no motion, so we can move on.
Nope.
Correct. Okay. Not getting help on that one. Reports, staff reports for second and third quarter. Item 8, quarterly staff, municipal court, Michelle Lowe.
These are just in the packet. They're not for discussion.
If you have any questions on any of them
Oh, we
specific, I
do.
think. the-
Okay. Parks Department, so we're not doing any reports. Mandy is not coming up?
No, they're in the packet. We have them like that.
Okay. I think it'd be good to discuss it in front of the citizens, but I guess you're not ready for that.
Mayor, this is the way it's been on quarterly reports for
Years.
years. Like, that's how we do it. And if you have a specific question for a department here. Okay, excuse me, months. It's been at least several quarters at this point. This is not a new process. If there are department heads to which you had specific questions, this is the way we reduced time to, instead of going through each report one by one, we reduced the time. And if there were specifics you had for each department, you could address those. And I would say that if they are here and prepared to, if you have questions specifically for the department, please do so, because that is the purpose of this time.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Okay, so we're going to skip down since no one's presenting anything. Is Gretchen here? Gretchen? Okay. So Gretchen, I had some questions I bet that you know and can answer.
Where are we going with this?
What item are we on the agenda?
We're jumping down to the project update from Gretchen.
Where?
Is it on one of the specific reports?
You mean?
Yeah, it's Gretchen's second and third. That's what I'm going to ask her questions
Got you.
on
So
that.
if you use the item number, that would be helpful. If you're still on item number 8, but.
Yes, I am.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay, Gretchen. Are you ready?
Hi.
Okay. Okay, is this construction work being done right now along Bankhead Highway for the sewer line and the water line, or possibly efficiently address both to accommodate the water main upgrade?
Yes, we're
Yes.
doing work on Bankhead Highway. The project consists of approximately 4,800 linear feet of 8-inch water line and 4,900 linear feet of 10-inch sewer line. So, yeah, we're doing work out there. We started July 21st,
Okay,
and is for water and sewer.
okay. So what entity made the decision to close Bankhead for Phase 2 project? And when was that decision made, and why was it made to close the road? How did that work?
So we had meetings with the contractor about the work that was about to get started.
Is that Jacob Martin?
Yes, Jacob Martin, yes. The contractor, Sky Blue Utilities, and city staff.
Gotcha. Okay. So how and when were the notices sent to businesses along Phase 2 Project Road?
I believe the first push was July 1st.
So y'all contacted the businesses before that happened?
It
The
was-
city?
Through the city's Facebook page, other social media platforms.
I can tell you
think we
that for
contacted the
June 29th, signs were put out. July 1st, the first website and email messaging and Facebook post went out. July 17th was a second website and email messaging, Facebook post, and the work started on 7/20.
But the city did not contact these businesses on the road, is that right?
Not on Bankhead Road, no. Bankhead Highway, no.
Okay.
They were contacted through the same channels as everyone else was contacted, being the website, the email messaging to our residents and our businesses in our city limits, Facebook posts, second website, email messaging, Facebook post. So the same way that we tell everyone else to get our messaging.
Okay. Well, I personally got complaints from business owners, spent a lot of time when they called, very upset that we did not contact them. Some of them pay their water bills through Willow Park. Even though they're Alito, they pay the city of Willow Park. And those were some of the people that were upset we didn't contact them personally. When you shut the road down and the business is there, and then all of a sudden, it's very upsetting, clearly, when they reached out. And then one of them said that one of our staff hung up on a business owner, and they got very upset. And I heard all about that one also. So what I'm suggesting is we might, going forward, we might try to call the businesses before we close the road right in front of their business to help our businesses and our citizens out. I think that's something that we definitely should do. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do that. We know where they are. We can drive by them, and they pay the water bill. I don't know how many of them do. Maybe some are on well. I do not know that answer. But I think it would be a good practice going forward for the businesses.
Mayor Palmer, I do want to correct the fact the road was not closed. So there is no through traffic. The road has never been fully closed. So the traffic can get through and get to those businesses. And we did have a meeting with the contractor last Thursday, and there is a flagger there as of Monday that is trying to field traffic to get to the businesses. So the road has not been fully closed at the point where they're doing the construction.
Well, it was closed and then rerouted through a neighborhood and routed back. And
There-
that was the complaint that I got.
Yes.
So I got several of them.
There is a detour, obviously, so that they don't have traffic constantly going through. the
Are you a business
construction
owner
site.
back there? Is that why you're waving at me?
I tried to go through there because I heard that there was, you could go through there.
Uh-huh.
It was completely closed off at 8 o'clock this morning. I was
Oh,
able
this
to go
morning.
there.
So
This morning, it was closed.
Wow. Did you know that?
they're not starting at 8 o'clock in the morning for work, but there is a flagger that will be there during the day.
But they totally closed the road down?
It should not be fully closed. There should be the barricade that goes mostly across the road to deter traffic from going through to interrupt the work that's already been opened.
Okay, so you're saying you couldn't get through at
Did
all?
not get through this morning.
Okay.
Yes?
How soon is it before school starts?
2 weeks, I think, when somebody called me to complain about it.
There was a meeting with the Lido ISD today, so they're fully aware. Thank you.
We have another meeting scheduled with the school for Monday to talk about traffic flows, detours, emergency access, active road projects, communication channels for unexpected incidents, and district operations.
So
The
y'all are
school-
meeting Monday?
The school, yeah, is scheduled that. I think the neighboring cities were included, TxDOT, Parker County. So we'll have more information.
Okay, and so once you meet with the school again, you'll push it out on our
Yeah.
city site? So everybody needs to look at the city site to get the updates, because a lot of people one that called me very concerned about school starting and this traffic, how are we going to get our kids,
Right.
to school, right? Which is what y'all are addressing, right?
So the school scheduled the meeting, so we'll know more.
Okay.
But yeah.
How much?
The schools will push that out too on their student parent portals and everything as well too, because they're going to have to reroute buses and things of that nature. So I just know that because I've got kids in school still. So.
The traffic and safety coordination meeting.
Great.
When are you meeting with Sky Blue on a daily basis? Or how regular is that? And are there any, let's answer that first. How often is that happening?
Yes, so I go out over there morning, afternoon. There's Jacob Martin has an inspector on site too. And so if they have any issues, they call us, Chase. So yeah, that's kind of how we're handling it. But I went over there today around noon, not noon, about 11. Talked to one of the flaggers. They had 2 flaggers, and everything seemed to go. I mean, I did see cars going through, but they were doing the detours. I asked the flaggers, how was it? I mean, is it getting better? It seems to be. I mean, you get the occasional traffic, but for the most part, I think people now know how to, follow the detour signs, how to get around where they need to go. I go home for lunch every day, so I do. I travel back to go home.
Same.
So I've been able to do that during lunchtime, after work, and I follow the frontage road, turn on New Energy, and just go back home, back and forth. So
Let me ask then, if we do have like a flagger trying to get people through on each end of the construction, is it an option then to ask them to open one side and just have the radio communications, as we've seen on many of our 2-lane highways throughout Texas, to say,
So they had-
this group comes through now, use this side wait? Okay.
yeah, so they've got the 2 flaggers, and then there's another one kind of like in the middle, just watching, traffic flow, and letting cars go through traffic. But so they're gonna be more, I guess, proactive the flaggers are. Because sometimes people just go through that either are not going to the businesses or they just want to go through. So I think they're just going to stop them and inform them of what's going on. And that's one of the flaggers told me this morning. They're explaining what's going on and how they can make or they can take alternate routes so that they don't have to go through the project work zone.
Is the work taking place on both sides of the street?
It's well, the line's right in the middle.
Right. Is there, that would be my question then, to talk to Sky Blue and see about opening up a through route, even if it's just to relieve some of the back to school, anything like
One
that?
lane, we'll
And I
know
would like-
more.
Chase?
Can I touch on that?
Wasn't there an issue with the width? with the
Yes,
construction?
we, sorry to cut you off.
No, no,
We-
that's-
We did have a meeting today on site with the contractor, some members of the county, their engineering firm, and our engineering firm. And that was the sole part of the discussion, was trying to see if there was a way to make one lane, either east to west or west to east, open fully. And the
That would
issue-
be great.
Well, don't get your
you do it?
hopes up. 'Cause
Oh, darn.
Unfortunately, the way that road is designed as it is currently, that there's wider stretches and narrower stretches. You have drainage with guardrails and things, so doing that will be very intermittent, and it'll probably just create more confusion. And for the alignment of the new utilities going in, and it's going center line of road or slightly offset. And the issue with that is the equipment that they're using. They're using a excavator to dig the trench right now. And at the depth they're at, they can use a mid-size excavator, which setting up on the ditch line overhangs 3.5 feet into the other lane. Now, when they get a little farther down, they're gonna have to upsize their equipment due to the depth, and it's a 14-foot wide piece of equipment, so it's gonna hang basically center line of the other lane. So it's not gonna be feasible. It's gonna be more dangerous for everybody involved trying to squeeze cars in through one lane. So that answers your question on that.
So we're getting a big no in the back of the room. And what is your name? I'm sorry?
Me,
Yes?
I don't have anything to say about this.
Nothing?
It's horrible, it's horrible, and.
Okay.
And there was, at 8 o'clock, there was no flagger there. It was just blocked.
So what time do the flaggers come on? If you got traffic at 8, how does that work that she's saying no one was there?
I can't answer that question, but I can definitely, we're having weekly meetings with the contractor. We set that today. We're gonna have weekly construction meetings to alleviate any speed bumps. We know it's been a nightmare and a half trying to get this started, but bear with us, we're working lockstep trying to get this resolved as best we can.
Marcy, you have a question?
Is there a way that work can be done through the night? Will that alleviate some of the issue?
That has not been discussed. We could possibly discuss this.
It was approached, and it was 30 to 40% more
Oh, okay.
for the cost for that, and that is way beyond our budget for this project, so.
And I would just make a note on that, doing night work next to a subdivision, I think we'll have a lot of angry people
Yeah.
Okay.
as well in that.
We have Chief Hamilton raising his hand in the back of the room. He has something to say.
I was gonna say, I take my son there in the morning when I work out, so usually we go in early, right before 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
They have it set up, so you'll get through easily when you go through early in the morning. When they come back by 8, they start setting those cones up, so that's why you don't have anybody at that barricade.
Okay.
Once they get set up, and everybody gets there, and you can easily vote, they'll let you vote through it. So I have to go back and forth, like, between 7 and then go back at 8:30, pick my son up, take him back out. So.
Yep.
And 8:30, it's kind of locked down?
It's up, everything is up and they're working, but they'll let you. So if you pull up to the cones, they'll talk to you, they'll let you do the cones, and you drive straight through. It's like it's a line apart.
Did you have your uniform on when they were letting you go through? Ah, you knew I was going to ask you that. Boom, right there. I would let you go through too. Yeah, I would. Go on through here. You, no uniform, can't go, right? Just wanted to throw that in. Does anybody else have questions for them before we move on?
Yes, Gretchen, on the Kingsgate Road Bridge Replacement Project, I know the contractor we were using went out of business. I know TxDOT's now trying to put the bid out. Do we have any sense of when that closes?
No, we don't. I emailed TxDOT last week, and they don't have any information. They basically told me once they do, they'll contact the city, but no.
And then one other question on the water supply and infrastructure grant.
Yes.
House Bill 500.
Yes.
I know we have to have it submitted by July 30th, which is approaching very
Yes.
soon.
Yes.
We're confident we're going to get that submitted, correct?
Yes, we just received the copy of the application today. We're going through it to be ready for submittal.
Okay.
Yes,
And
everything's ready.
All right, perfect. And that was for up to $10 million, and that would be used for Squaw Creek water pipelines and other areas where we had major water leakage.
Yes, that's
correct?
right. Mhm.
Marcy?
That 2 million includes the 5.5 for the West Oak subdivision?
That's going federal, is that correct?
Yeah, so it does not. We were going to seek an alternate funding
Right, that-
mechanism for that.
That would be federal funding, correct?
Yes.
Yep, versus state.
Based on income?
Gene?
Yes.
Yeah, Eric actually prompted the question. There's a electric billboard on the service road that says take the detour because King's Gate is closed. Are we renting that or is that on TxDOT dollars?
TxDOT.
Okay, well, you might recommend to them that they put up a permanent sign instead of taking a while.
Until that, yeah. Yeah, that's a state-led project, so TxDOT's managing the project. They're inspecting the project, so, yeah, they're overseeing everything.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Gretchen.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
I do want to point out that the repaving in front of Brookshire's all the way down to New Energy yesterday for TxDOT, we were not alerted for that project. Or was it yesterday? Yeah, just yesterday.
TxDOT did not tell you they were doing that?
That is correct. So.
Wow, that's
So
huge.
it was inconvenient timing like all construction is, but the fact that like every corridor had something going on was especially challenging. But we were not aware of that, so.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to executive session. The next items will be discussed in executive session as allowed by the Texas Government Code. Section 551.071, consultation with city attorney. Section 551.074, personnel. Section 551.087, economic development negotiations. Number 9 is the city of Aledo, Texas, and the city of Fort Worth, Texas versus Willow Park, Beldine Ranch, and Parker County, cause number CV26-0175 in Parker County 43rd District Court. Number 10, Home Rule Charter and Charter Commission legal issues. 11, police chief position. 12, economic development negotiations with Banditas, Willow Park. The time now is 7:47. Thank you. Okay, we're going to reconvene into open session. Time now is 9:15. Does the council wish to make any motions related to the closed session?
No action.
Okay, no one has anything?
Hang on.
Wait.
No. Are we closing out as of today at 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need to go and vote on that? You want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, I make a
Okay,
motion.
so we have a motion to close the resumes out off TML at 5 PM today. So do you want to make a motion?
Yes, close out any more resumes coming in after 5 o'clock today unless they're post-dated, I guess, or if the email timestamp.
Okay. Do we
Yeah,
have a
for I'm
second?
sorry, for police chief, yeah, I guess we.
Police chief, yeah. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it. Oh, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Nathan's going to second. Okay, all in favor? There you go. Okay, so item 13 is city manager comments, response, reaction to the meeting.
No, ma'am, just the community interest about Bearcat Nation is 101, is the back-to-school event that is at the Alito High School. That is on Saturday, August 1st, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and so it is just an event for back-to-school that the city hosts, excuse me, that the school hosts. The city will be there, as we are every year. And then National Night Out, again, just to remind you, put on your calendar, is October 6th of 2026 at the District of Willow Park. And then our university schedule, and our next will be in September, so more news to come for that.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay, number 14 is mayor, city council comments. Anybody have any comments before we move on?
Yeah, just a reminder of our, or my event, I guess, is the Coffee with Councilmen. That is August 7th. That's that first Friday of the month. 8:30, starts right at 8:30 a.m. and ends right at 9:30. I want everybody's hour for that day, so.
Okay.
Anybody's welcome to join. Open conversation, no agenda. Love to see you there.
Okay, thank you. All right, number 15, future agenda request by mayor and city council. I have some, do y'all have some?
We don't have that
I
on the
do.
agenda anymore. We don't have that on the agenda.
Yeah, I don't have a 15.
You didn't put that on there? Dina, is that on the agenda? You don't have it this time, okay.
Number 15 is not there.
All I've got is 14.
All right, I'm used to putting that on the end, so I guess we'll be turning them in to you, Dina, as our request. So, moving on to adjourn, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Scott's first, second, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Good night, thank you very much.